The dissertation is titled
Clapped Back Together, Healing Through Queer Eco-Erotic Conocimiento, Puterea Praxis, and WETTY Pedagogy.
And it's a bloody mess. The student is Olga, future Liability Estrada, and yes, this is an actual doctoral dissertation. And oh yeah, Olga, also known as Ray of Sunshine, has a bone to pick with academia. Or at least I think it's with academia. Could be society at large, or her therapist, or the repo man. I don't know. At any rate, we're going to read portions of her dissertation to uncover its true meaning, to establish its rightful place in social... Oh, who am I kidding? It's completely obtuse, stupid, and pretentious. So get ready, because we're now going to learn how Olga got her clap back. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With powerful neuro-quantum brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Just a word of warning, if you value your children's brain development, you will send them to another room as I read this dissertation. And immediately your attention gravitates to the misspelling of the word through in the title. And no, Olga, I'm not going to buy any horse manure that this spelling was intentional. You just screwed up, and your band of merry cretins on your graduate committee obviously never bothered to read your dissertation. Now, before we begin, you may be wondering what WETTY means, along with all the other words in the title. And that would be a stupid question. I mean, come on. Everyone knows what it means. WETTY is defined as
Joteria, Crip, Chicanx epistemology that refuses the dryness of extractivist, spirit-murdering, necropolitical conditions produced by an anti-erotic neoliberal society. WETTY is a community praxis of Rusquatch survival that embraces authenticity, humor, grief, work, queer decolonial desire, and healing relational ecosystems. It is a way of achieving survival and becoming through any creative, embodied, and intellectual means possible. WETTY is foundational for shaping pedagogy and puterea praxis.
In other words, WETTY means coping. And yes, that sensation you're feeling is your brain bleeding.
This autohistoria theoria offers a loteria critique of the anti-erotic neoliberal academy.
We must use autohistoria because historia has that awful his pronoun in it. And you thought that etymology was never used for any good purpose.
Written from my positionality as a queer Crip Chicanx doctoral student and educator. I draw on the elements of earth, air, fire, and water.
And you thought Terence Howard had a wild understanding of the periodic table.
To ground queer conocimiento and theorize how cycles of rupture and fragmentation transform into queer resilience and eco-erotic healing.
Dicknanigans.
Cycles of rupture and fragmentation? That doesn't work. How is that a cycle? I mean, rupture and healing, or fragmentation and coalition, those would be cycles. And I'm sorry, but resilience is the last word I would use to describe the type of student who spends their entire academic career in excruciating psychoagony.
My eco-erotic framework and WETTY pedagogy are informed by Audre Lorde's notion of the erotic, bell hooks engaged pedagogy, Gloria Anzaldua's autohistoria theoria.
Uh-oh, Gloria used that historia with the male pronoun in it.
And the communal practices of the WETTY collective, whose creative and relational world-building shapes my understanding of queer survival.
If there is one word that fits within this mindset, it's communal. That one makes sense.
Whereas WETTY is a queer, Crip, Chicanx, Rusquatch praxis that makes strategy for survival and collective meaning-making possible.
Whereas is a conjunction. So how is this not a fragment? I mean, whereas what? And I need to be careful about insulting her now that she has the Chicano wing of the Crips involved.
I further introduce the...
Okay, I'm not even going to try with this one. How about we'll just call it the laser tuttle? Good enough.
I further introduce the laser tuttle cycle, a queer eco-erotic process of filth, digestion, and transformation that reimagines how shame, rupture, and sacred mess become sites of rebirth in queer conocimiento.
It's amazing.
The next thing we know, she'll be sticking the word quantum and neuro in there. Well, the Mayan translations of the words, because if you use the English words, the reader might figure out what you're trying to say, and we can't have that. The wet acknowledgement has some real buttes.
Grad school is duro.
Yeah, grad school is hard. It's especially hard when you have no creative thinking or communication skills.
I found a healing practice of fragmented self-recovery.
Yeah, I doubt that. Not buying that one iota. And at the end, she tells her wetty friends to
tell your bottom story, take up space, get a BBL.
A Brazilian butt lift. I guess that's the bottom story she needs to tell. And thanks to her BBL, her bottom takes up more space. Amazing. I finally found something that makes sense. Normally, the table of contents is the dullest part of a dissertation, but not this time. We have all kinds of interesting section titles, including
Sisterhood Triangulating Bitches, Amig X Rupture as Erotic Refusal. The Shadow Self is a salty putex.
I didn't know that. And who could leave out
You Got Me Fucked Up?
The best part is that it comes right after the section titled Healing Through Puteria. Then we have
Water Has Ancestral Teachings.
Pretty impressive. And of course,
Reclaiming Our Water Stories.
Is water stories what you call your repossessed Subaru Outback? And last, and possibly least, it's hard to tell,
Bury Me in My Rancho Drip.
Now you may be thinking, what's going on here? Well, this is what happens when you're majoring in a field where your professors and peers don't have the technical savvy to understand Microsoft Word. You see, the patriarchal, non-communal capitalist system at Microsoft has got her Rancho Drip fucked up, and so she has the wrong style set for this passage. Take a look. So whatever heading style she set for rituals of water grounding, she also is set for some of the water-based rituals, blah, blah, blah. Worse, the fact that these two are on the same line indicates that she used a soft carriage return between them. Why would you do that? Now, if this craziness appeared all over the place, then you could chalk it up to an Art Nouveau writing project a la Mark Danielewski. But nope, this is a screw-up, and one that no one on her graduate committee was able to spot. 5 on her committee, and no one noticed. Gee, I wonder if they read her dissertation. Now, let's cruise through the photos. This figure looks like a New Age Steppers album cover. Hey, Olga, your university probably has an Adobe Creative Suite site license. You don't need to use a razor blade and glue.
Figure 3. Like a seed, I come up unshakable.
Yes, this is the work of a student getting a doctorate. On page 97, we encounter this poem, or I think it's a poem. To be honest, I think all of this angst works better in a punk rock song. So let's try this. I'll use the Dickies' Manny Moe and Jack for the backbeat. Now, before I begin, a lot of people struggle to understand the meaning of lyrics. I mean, with all the metaphor and all. So I have closed captioned the following for your benefit. Dear bitches, I thought you loved me. I'm still holding space for your healing. Friendship comes with ruptures. Sometimes the air between us felt harsh, like breathing smoke after finishing a roach. I've been spiraling, guessing the direction of your cold winds. You say you're a loner, but even wolves howl and get boners. If you keep ghosting accountability, you'll keep mistaking solitude for safety. Here's an interesting section on page 203, Rituals of Water Grounding. Some of the water-based rituals that sustain me are small everyday practices of remembrance and care.
Taking long herbal baths with ruta, basil, or rosemary, speaking affirmations aloud until the water feels charged with intention.
I have a better idea. How about studying for your exams?
Crying as prayer, allowing tears to cleanse my face, body, and spirit rather than hiding them.
Damn! Face and body and spirit? How much crying does she do? The most I ever cry is after a Sooner loss, but then the tears only clean a tiny portion of my face. Remember, this is the person lecturing us on her resilience.
Visiting rivers and lakes, offering flowers, stones, or words to the water as a gesture of gratitude and surrender.
I have a better idea. Why not get a job to pay off your student loans?
Drinking water slowly, intentionally blessing each sip as ceremony.
Is water that scarce in your household? Probably can't pay her water bill. That makes sense.
Washing dishes, showering, and soap making as meditations on renewal.
I have a better idea. How about laying off the weed?
Sharing tea, smoke, and conversation with moonlight friends, our laughter and schisma becoming medicine.
With an emphasis on smoke. Let me edit for accuracy. Sharing vape, smoke, and shrooms with moonlight friends.
Sharing your grief writings and allowing yourself to be witnessed in your mourning.
This sounds like something Morrissey would have written. Now, who at the University of Texas at San Antonio decided to give Estrada a doctorate? Well, here are the guilty parties. And they're from the Department of Bicultural Bilingual Studies. And I'm telling all of you out there that these departments are loco! They provide zero benefit to society. All they do is suck up tuition money to pay a bunch of losers a salary to embitter generations of students into thinking that someone else is to blame for their problems. How many out there think that any of these people on her graduate committee could earn a real living? Like my video and subscribe to my channel.